Okay, so it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you are absolutely done. The kids are still going. The laundry is still there. Dinner still has to happen, yet you have nothing left. If that sounds familiar, stay with me. We're going to talk about why that afternoon crash keeps happening, and it probably has nothing to do with how much sleep you got last night. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's going on in your body every afternoon and what you can start doing this week to actually change it. I'm also going to share a few specific patterns that I see in almost every tired mom that's setting up that crash before 2 p.m. even arrives. So make sure you stick around for that. Hi, I'm Brittany, a holistic nutritionist, health coach, and homeschool mom to my 2 boys. I help women who are exhausted get to the root of what's actually draining their energy so that they can feel like themselves again without living on caffeine, cutting out carbs and tons of other foods, or chasing the next wellness trend. So if you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. This channel is all about healing your metabolism and your energy through real food, understanding your body, and making changes that actually fit inside a real mom's life. No extreme protocols here, no new age weirdness or just mainstream fluff, no being told to just eat less or just push through, just practical, grounded information rooted in science, the Bible, and real life experience. So if you're ready to stop just pushing through and start supporting your body the way that God designed it, then go ahead and click subscribe. That tells YouTube to show you more of my videos and helps me keep creating helpful content for women that are trying to heal naturally without all the noise. And if you've been here for a while, thank you so much for coming back. That truly means so much. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover today. First, I'm going to break down what's actually happening in your body when you feel that afternoon crash, that low energy that happens every day after lunch, the biology behind it, and why it matters. Second, I'm going to talk about a few patterns that set this crash up before the afternoon even gets here. And then I'm not just leaving it at that, what the problem is. I'm also going to give you some realistic things that you can start doing today to start turning your energy around. All right, so let's start with what is actually going on in your body when this energy crash happens. Because once you understand this, the afternoon crash is going to make a whole lot more sense. You understand why it's happening so that you can prevent it in the future. Your body has a job that it does every single day, day in and day out, 24/7. Its job is to convert fuel from the food that you're eating into energy. And the way that it does this is pretty cool. Inside almost all of your cells, there are these tiny structures called mitochondria. Think of these as the power plants for your cells, making the energy for your cells to run. And your cells have an average of about 2,000 mitochondria per cell. So your body needs a lot of energy for all the many jobs that it has to do. So to take the fuel from your food and turn it into usable energy that your body can run on. That energy is stored in something called ATP, basically your body's energy currency. So every movement you make, every thought you have, all the functions going on in every organ of your body, all of that runs on ATP. Your body has to constantly be making ATP. It doesn't just happen after you eat food and that's it. No, it happens all day long. A molecule of ATP only lasts about 60 seconds. So your body makes it, uses it, makes it, uses it. Continuous cycle that is going on in your body. It gets used up almost as fast as it makes it. So to keep making ATP, your body has to have a consistent flow of fuel. And its preferred fuel source is glucose, which is a simple sugar that comes from the carbohydrates that we eat, the carbs. Every time you eat a meal, your digestive system breaks the food down into all of its smaller parts, and it breaks carbohydrates down into glucose. That glucose is then released into your bloodstream, and that's what makes your blood sugar rise. That's completely normal and necessary. We want want our blood sugar to rise. Your body's making that sugar accessible for your cells so they can take it in and use it and convert it into energy. However, we don't want that sugar to just stay in our blood. So your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, and insulin works like a key. It unlocks the doors to your cells and lets glucose come in. When everything works like it's supposed to, your blood sugar rises gradually, and then it moves into the cells slowly, and your blood sugar levels back out. So just little dips up and down, no major like swings and crashes. We don't want our blood sugar to spike and then crash, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes our blood sugar does spike up and then drop down drastically. And when it drops, your brain, which runs almost entirely on glucose, it doesn't have any real storage that it can pull from. So you start to get that heavy, foggy, can hardly hold your eyes open kind of a feeling. You are experiencing brain fog. That's your brain telling you that you are low on fuel. It has run out of resources and it is struggling to keep going. This doesn't mean that your body's, not working the right way. It's working the way it's supposed to under these conditions. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do when glucose gets too low. It's responding to what happened at breakfast time. And you might be wondering, if something goes wrong in the morning, why am I struggling with my energy in the afternoon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock? Why is it delayed so much? The answer is that your body's response does not happen all at once. It's not instantaneous. Things happen in steps. So think of like dominoes falling. Each one takes time to fall. So let's say something disrupts your blood sugar at 7 a.m. Your blood sugar starts doing that swing. It spikes up. And by 8 a.m., it has peaked. So your body starts to manage it. By 9 or 10 a.m., dips down and is at its low. Your body sees that as an emergency and sends a distress signal. Your adrenal glands respond and start working to bring blood sugar back up. By 10 or 11, you might feel a little shaky, irritable, like you have a short fuse, anything's going to set you off. And then by noon to 2 o'clock, the hormones that were released hours ago are still circulating and your energy is depleted. You have hit a wall. So the crash that happens at 2 p.m. usually isn't caused by lunch. It starts before that. It starts at breakfast time. Now, let me explain what is happening when those dominoes start falling. When your blood sugar drops, your body doesn't just sit there and wait. It's not like, oh, well, our sugar's low. Guess we're not making much energy. No, that's not good. That is a problem. So it activates a backup rescue system. Your body does not want your blood sugar to stay too high or too low, because a low blood sugar equals low energy availability to your cells. So your brain senses that and sends that distress signal to your adrenal glands. They are two small glands that sit on top of your kidneys and produce those stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Their job in this moment is to bring blood sugar back up. It's responding to that emergency situation. So think of cortisol kind of like an emergency generator. When the power goes off, the generator kicks on. I know at my house anyways, whenever there's a storm, our power goes out. And then we have a generator we can turn on to run some things, right? It doesn't run everything in the whole house for a long time, but we can run our refrigerator so all of our food doesn't go bad. We can turn some lights on so we can see. So it keeps some things running while the main power is out. But an emergency generator is not meant to be your primary power source. It is designed for emergency situations, not for daily operations. So that shaky, irritable, heart racing, like need to eat something sweet kind of a feeling, that is your adrenal glands activating and pushing out those stress hormones. It's going, alert, alert, there's an emergency. Send out the hormones, send out cortisol, send out adrenaline. And if this is happening multiple times a day, your adrenal glands are being called to respond to emergencies over and over and over. Not because there's like a physical emergency, like a lion chasing you, or you're about to get in a car wreck and you have to respond and know what to do right away. It is because of what you are eating or not eating, what was on your plate in the morning. And that repeated activation over days and weeks and years, that adds up. That's part of why so many women are so exhausted. And it goes so much deeper than just needing a nap or just needing to sleep more at night. Another thing to consider is that every time your adrenal glands activate and they work to send out those hormones, your body burns through minerals, especially magnesium, sodium, and potassium. And those are some of the exact minerals that we need to help regulate blood sugar in the first place. We've probably all heard by now how great magnesium is. Magnesium is so important. It's involved in 6 out of the 8 steps your body uses to convert fuel into energy. We would not be able to make energy without magnesium. It is so important. It also regulates how well your cells respond to insulin, and it helps to prevent insulin resistance. Research estimates that somewhere between 50 and 75% of people are deficient in magnesium. And I would bet that it's even higher than that. We're deficient in magnesium in our diet to begin with, not to mention how much we're burning up through stress. That extra demand that stress adds to our body uses up more magnesium. And the more magnesium that you lose through stress, the harder it becomes for your body to balance blood sugar. Another really important mineral, one of my favorites, is potassium. Potassium works almost like insulin. It helps to move glucose into your cells. And stress also depletes potassium. Sodium, which most people have been told to avoid or to lower their intake of, it's actually the primary mineral that your adrenal glands need to do their work. Sodium is needed to help the adrenal glands to do their job of balancing blood sugar and get sugar out of storage so that your body can keep running even when your blood sugar is low because of your diet. Low sodium is also associated with insulin resistance. And when you're under constant stress, sodium is one of the first minerals to get used up. Another really important mineral that's less well known is chromium. It's sometimes called the glucose tolerance mineral because its main job is to help your cells respond to insulin and to let glucose in. Okay, so here's the cycle. Blood sugar becomes unstable in the morning from something. We're going to talk about what causes that in a second. Your adrenals fire, minerals get depleted, which makes blood sugar harder to regulate, which causes more instability. So it's not just like a random thing that you're just randomly tired every single afternoon and your energy is progressively getting worse and worse. Your mineral reserves are being drawn down and your body has less and less to work with every time it goes through that cycle. So eating balanced meals is so important. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but that's not enough on its own. The minerals have to be there too for things to actually work. I remember before I figured any of this out, I would crash so hard every day after lunch. I genuinely felt like I couldn't function. I would have to lie down on the couch or go to my bed and lay down for at least an hour and then drink a cup or 2 of coffee to get me going again. I was dragging myself through every afternoon, wondering what was wrong with me. What is wrong with my body? Why is it doing this every day? And the answer ended up being something that I had no idea was connected. The way that I was eating in the morning and what it was doing to my blood sugar, how it was setting up for these swings and crash every afternoon. Let's talk about why this happens, why this shows up every afternoon. Because there are some patterns that I see in many women that set up this afternoon crash before 2 p.m. even gets here. So the first pattern is skipping breakfast or even just eating something really small and running on coffee instead. Your body has been fasting all night long, right? Whenever you're done with your dinner at night, your body starts a fast all night long until you break your fast in the morning. That's why it's called breakfast, right? No matter what time you eat it, the first time you eat in the day is breakfast. You're breaking your night-long fast. When you extend your fast in the morning and you drink coffee on top of that, you're asking your body to run on stress hormones. You have to run on something. And if you're not giving your body food, it runs on stress hormones from the very first hour of the day. Your blood sugar is already low when you wake up in the morning. So your adrenals respond by releasing cortisol to pull stored glucose out of your liver and your muscles so that it can get into the blood and raise blood sugar back up so your cells have fuel. And then the caffeine keeps your cortisol staying high. Your afternoon crash is not caused by lunch. It is set up way before that. It happens first thing in the morning, first thing when you wake up. Now, I'm not saying that you need to give up coffee completely, but the timing and the sequence matters a lot. The second pattern I see is meals that do not give your body the right combination of fuel. And this can go in both directions. The most common version of this is meals that are high in carbohydrates and very low, if any, protein and fat. Think of a sandwich with a lot of bread, but not very much filling, or crackers or fruit, a piece of toast or a granola bar all by itself with no form of protein with it. Those carbs get digested very quickly. And so the glucose is released into your bloodstream all at once. The pancreas senses that and sees all that sugar there. So it reacts. It releases a large amount of insulin to deal with all that blood sugar. And insulin can overcompensate. It can clear so much of the glucose out of your blood that your blood sugar drops down lower than it was to begin with. So that's when you get that spike and crash. A helpful way to think about this is to picture a campfire. When you just crumple up a newspaper and throw it on, or get some dead leaves or pine straw and throw it on the fire, you get a big bright flare, but then it goes out very quickly. That's what a carb heavy meal does. But when you put a big dense log on the fire, it catches slowly, but then it burns for a long time. That is what the protein and fat alongside your carbs do to your blood sugar. They keep the fire burning steadily. Now, here's something that most of us don't think about really. We probably know already that our blood sugar spikes and crashes when we have a lot of carbs. It's also a problem if you're eating a lot of protein and fat and not enough carbs. This is a real issue for a lot of women who have been influenced by diet culture and have been told to, keep their carbs low, and they fear carbs. When there's not enough carbohydrates coming in, your body doesn't have glucose to run on, and it loves its glucose. It wants that glucose to fuel its cells. So your stress hormones are doing the job of getting glucose out of storage and breaking muscle down and getting protein and converting that into glucose to use to run your body. So that process requires your adrenals to stay activated. So either way your meals are imbalanced, same concept, right? It still causes exhaustion. They still activate the adrenals and they still cause mineral depletion. So the goal isn't to totally reduce carbs to nothing, and it's not to load your plate with tons of carbs. The goal is balance. We want all three macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbs, should be in good ratio with each other. That is what keeps your blood sugar stable and keeps your adrenals out of emergency emergency mode. Being tired after eating is almost always a meal composition problem. Your body is just responding to the fuel that it was given or not given. The third pattern is inconsistent meal timing. So eating maybe at noon one day and waiting longer and eating at 3 the next day, and then getting up in the morning and eating at 8 right away, first thing in the morning. Or maybe you stretch it even longer and you don't eat breakfast, you don't eat lunch, and you don't really eat anything until dinner. And then you have a huge meal at dinner time. Your body cannot build stable metabolic rhythm around unpredictable fuel. Your body loves consistency. And when there's not consistency there with your meals, it struggles. Your body kind of stays on guard. It's in emergency mode because it's not confident when food is going to be coming or if food is going to be coming today. That low level vigilance keeps your stress hormones elevated, just ready to respond to the situation. And that pattern is part of why your energy is low every single afternoon. One sign that your metabolism is actually working really well is that you can miss a meal without your energy crashing. That is what a flexible, nourished metabolism looks like. Of course, we don't want that to become a habit. We don't want to consistently skip meals, but if our metabolism is healthy and it's working like it's supposed to, we can skip one and we're fine. But if every time you skip a meal, you get that brain fog, you have cravings, and your energy drops really low, that is definitely a sign of a slow metabolism and something that we want to really pay attention to. So these patterns are, I know, so easy to fall into as women because life is full, right? Life is busy. There's so many things to do. There's places to go, and we don't always have time to sit down and have a full meal. I totally get it. As moms, we are the caretakers of our family, and we want to make sure our kids are fed. We often care for the rest of our family before we care for ourselves. But when we understand why this energy crash is happening, we can start taking steps to prevent it. Try to fix our meals and fix our meal timing so that we can keep this from happening, because it's hard to take care of our family when we don't have any energy. So before we get into what to actually do about this, I want to hear from you. So drop a comment below and tell me, do you eat breakfast? Do you get up in the morning and have a good breakfast right away? Or do you start with coffee and have coffee first and eat breakfast later? I am curious to know what you do. Okay, so now let's get practical. What do we actually do about this? How can we stop that afternoon crash from happening? So here are some shifts that you can take to actually move the needle in your energy. The first shift is to build balanced meals. The most important thing you can do to stop that afternoon fatigue is to build meals that are balanced across the 3 macronutrients: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Every time you eat a meal or snack or anything, you need all 3 of those macros there, because protein, fat, and also fiber help to slow down digestion and how quickly the glucose enters your bloodstream. Remember, fat and protein are like the dense logs on the fire. They keep blood sugar from just rising really fast and crashing down. So blood sugar stays steady and that crash doesn't happen. Your mitochondria have the consistent fuel supply they need to work with and create energy all the way through the afternoon. A meal that is just carbs is almost always going to set you up for a crash later. But you can have the same carbs. You can eat that piece of toast. Just make sure you pair it with protein and fat. Those other macros there with it are going to make the carbs behave completely differently than if you just eat the toast toast all by itself. So think eggs and butter with your toast instead of just toast. Your liver uses what you eat first thing in the morning to prepare for lunchtime. Shift number 2 is to eat consistently throughout the day. So don't just wait until noon and wait till you're running on fumes and you're so hungry that you can eat anything. Eat a good breakfast soon after you wake up in the morning. When your body gets consistent fuel at predictable times, it stops operating in that low-grade survival mode. It starts trusting you more that you are going to provide it with fuel. You are going to nourish it. It doesn't have to worry anymore. So it will willingly burn fuel instead of just like holding on to it, just storing it away because it feels like it's in a famine. Your metabolism is not a fixed thing. It responds to the signals that you give it every day. And consistent nourishment is one of the most powerful signals that you can give your metabolism. Your body was designed to receive regular, adequate food. So don't skip breakfast, whether it's unintentionally because you don't have time or because you're not hungry or, in the name of intermittent fasting. Start your day with a good, balanced breakfast. Shift number 3 is to notice what the crash is telling you. So tune in with your body. Pay attention to the signals it's giving you. When we experience those energy crashes, we shouldn't just think like, oh no, my body is failing me. Something is wrong. No, remember your body's doing what it was designed to do with what it's being given. So treat the crash as information. What is it trying to tell you? An afternoon slump where you hit a wall at 2 p.m. tells you something different than having a crash earlier at like 10 or 11 in the morning. A 2 p.m. crash is more likely caused by a high carb breakfast with not enough protein. And then struggling with having any energy at 10 or 11 is probably because you didn't eat breakfast. So noticing the pattern helps you know what you need to do differently. God designed your body so incredibly, and it is responsive. It responds to the inputs it's being given. Your symptoms are not random. They are information. And when we start treating them that way, instead of just pushing through them anyways and trying to go about everything business as usual, that's when things start to shift. And then the last shift number 4, is to give your body the minerals that it needs to function. So we want our meals to be balanced. We want to eat consistently. We also want to make sure that our meals have minerals in them. They're not just empty calories, not just calories, protein, fat, and carbs. We also need minerals there because you can be eating balanced meals all day long and still be running low on the minerals that your body needs to turn that fuel into energy. So get your magnesium. That's going to be in dark leafy greens, dairy, bananas, dark chocolate, and animal proteins. Chromium is found in eggs, beef, liver, which I know none of us like, but liver is so good for you and it's so mineral dense. And then broccoli is another good source of chromium. Potassium, hardly any of us are eating enough of. We can find it in oranges, orange juice, bananas, dairy. Potatoes are a big source of potassium, and most fruits and vegetables. So if you're not eating very much produce, you're probably not getting enough potassium. Oh, and one of my favorites, how can I forget, is coconut water. And then, of course, sodium we know is in salt. So get real salt, sea salt that hasn't been stripped and processed and all of its other minerals taken out of. Get real good quality salt. Your adrenal glands need it, your blood sugar needs it to regulate, and your cells need it to keep them hydrated and bring nutrients in and waste out. And if you have been doing all of this consistently and you're still crashing every afternoon, that's something to pay attention to. Sometimes it looks like a blood sugar problem, but it's actually a mineral depletion problem, or your blood sugar is imbalanced, not necessarily by inconsistent meals or unbalanced meals, but because you don't have the minerals there to to regulate your blood sugar. That's exactly the kind of thing that a hair tissue mineral analysis can reveal, because it gives you a picture of what's actually happening in your cells over the past few months, and not just what is showing up in your blood work on one particular day. All right, so we talked about what is actually going on in your body during that afternoon energy crash. When blood sugar becomes unstable, your brain starts running low on fuel, and your adrenal glands kick on as the emergency backup system. They release cortisol and adrenaline to go get fuel out of storage to bring blood sugar back up. And every time that cycle fires, it burns through minerals. Your body needs those minerals to regulate blood sugar in the first place, so we don't want them becoming depleted. That cascade happens over several hours, which is why something in the morning causes you to crash at 2 p.m. We talked about the patterns that set this up, why this even happens. Going too long without eating in the morning, building meals that are not balanced, that are either too high in carbs or not enough carbs, and eating at unpredictable times. And we talked about 4 shifts: building balanced meals every time you eat, eating consistently so that your body can trust your fuel supply, paying attention to what the crash is actually telling you, and giving your body the minerals that it needs to handle blood sugar properly. Here's an important thing I want you to take away. Being tired after lunch every single day is not just a part of being a busy mom. It is a sign that your metabolism is running on survival mode. And the awesome thing is that one good balanced breakfast can start changing things that same day. It can give you more energy and stop that afternoon crash that day. But consistency over weeks creates changes at a deeper level and improves things even more. And if you have one bad day and you skip a meal one time and you don't make a habit out of it, when we have a balanced metabolism, that doesn't ruin everything. It doesn't undo all the good things that you're doing. So if what I talked about today resonated with you, I hope it did. But if you're sitting here nodding your head like, yes, this is me. Yes, I need this. Then I want to tell you about something special, something that I created specifically for women in this exact place. It's called the Steady Energy Reset. And it's a program that walks you through exactly what we talked about today and more. It covers blood sugar, meal rhythm, how to support your metabolism through nourishing it rather than restricting, nervous system regulation, and movement that restores energy rather than depleting it more. All of it is organized into 6 pillars that build upon each other in the right way. And it's not overwhelming. It's not a rigid protocol. It's built for real life with kids, with dishes in the sink, with a schedule that doesn't always go the way that you plan for it to go. So it's built with moms in mind. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below. So if you're ready to stop just trying to push through every day, just make it till bedtime, and you're ready to really understand what exactly your body needs to make steady energy, then that is a great place to start. All right, well, thank you so much for being here today. If this was helpful to you at all, I would really appreciate if you gave it a like. That helps more tired moms find this, which is exactly the point. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.